所以看不到光算是不幸吗？
This event begins at the end. A question was raised, and what followed was silence. It wasn't a question wanting an answer. It was bitterness, self-ridicule, and something dark, obscure, all warped together.
需要光才是真正的不幸吧。
Those calm but ominous words gave off a whiff of desperate exhaustion.
人为什么总在纠结于如何被爱呢？在悠久的岁月里，我一直思考着这个问题。那一定是因为我们永远无法喜欢上活在此刻的自己。曾经有人这么告诉我，在他还是他的时候，但时至今日，我依旧没能理解当初这句话中的含义，所以我只能继续看着你，看着这个因他而生的你，直到从你身上找到他没有说出口的话语。毕竟你就是昨天的我，而我则是明天的你。我什么答案都还没有，也找不到可以对你说的东西。即便如此，如果一定要对昨天的我说些什么的话，明天你也一定要继续厚颜无耻地活下去。
We jump back to the beginning. Kasumi is tracking someone, and a flashback occurs. This masked man who calls himself Ferryman claims to be a liaison sent to the Far East by the Overseer. When Kasumi arrived in Yaimachi, the contact signs written over the street corners led her to him. Though a person of mystery, his intel gathering is first class. We learn that the person Kasumi is tracking is Raiden Mei, ex-leader of the Shadow Guards serving the Castellan, and is also a refugee who is wanted for stealing forbidden scripts and learning dark arts. Though the charges are false, there might be some truth to it. Her father, Raiden Ryoma, seems to be a successor to an ancient sect, and was arrested after a lab accident. The sect is after mechanical parts that can fully replace human organs. If all human body parts can be replaced by artificial components, is the soul transferred to the robotic shell? Kasumi mentions that one of the Zakti runes from the 6 ninja arts had some kind of soul-controlling power. Ferryman confirms that the path of Naraka rune can manipulate drift souls. Recollection over. The Raiden girl seemed to be talking to a flame mark, but not long after, a woman appeared. She had discovered her thanks to her path of Deva rune. Their conversation is short-lived, and the very instant the moon is clouded, Mei dashed away. The woman, after having made up her mind, gave chase immediately, leaving the flame mark on its own. Kasumi uses this opportunity to inspect the flame mark, and a golem pops out of it. After defeating it, Ferryman then speaks inside her head. For some unknown reason, he can see and hear everything she can. Ferryman talks about how the golem seems to be the same model from Ryoma's research. Kasumi takes out a rune as Ferryman suggested, and a cluster of light drifts out of the golem. This is a drift soul. Looks like Ryoma's research had entered the final stage, and he probably used the Naraka rune in his experiments. From Mei's talk with the stranger, Kasumi infers that Mei is probably an insider of her father's project. Ferryman then informs Kasumi that the stranger is no other than Kallen the Castellan, the legendary warrior who defeated the demon fox alongside the Miko and rebuilt Yaimachi from the ashes. The scene changes to Mei waking up to a place that's not Kallen's castle. It seems she did manage to get away from Kallen after all. Under Ferryman's guidance, Kasumi appears and reveals her knowledge of Mei's status. Mei questions her about her motive. Pretending to be a Miko working in Evernight, Kasumi reveals that she encountered the injured Mei while taking a shortcut home, and, out of the goodness of her heart, decided to save her and dress her wounds. With the setting of the sun, Kasumi pretends to go to work. Outside, Ferryman tells Kasumi about 3 outstanding rumors: the hovering house, the summer frozen pond, and the sunny day thunderclaps. They decide to investigate the frozen pond and sunny day thunders as they may come from a mark. At the frozen pond, Kasumi defeats another golem after activating the mark. So far, their theories have held up, and they conclude that the rune didn't change hands after Ryoma was arrested. Mei will lead them to the Naraka rune. Now, with 2 drift souls, they set off for the final mark. However, it seems Kallen is heading their way. After quickly acquiring the final drift soul, Kallen finally shows up and catches up to Kasumi. Much to her surprise, a most unexpected face popped up. The ruler of Yaimachi lost all calmness and looked as if she just saw a ghost. This familiar yet strange face ripped open some old wounds in her heart. She took her hand back as if struck by lightning, staggered a few steps, and took off. Kasumi goes back to Mei, who thanks her by pressing a sharp object against her neck. Mei questions Kasumi about her identity. As someone that served the Castellan for years, Mei explains that newborns with fox ears are known as the Forbidden Ones. They are sent to serve the god in the Yai Shrine once they come of age. After freeing herself from the threat of Mei, Kasumi explains her motive. She's here for the Zakti rune. She also has what the 3 marks held. Upon hearing this, things seem to have calmed down. May explains that the reason her father may have been obsessed with artificial body parts is because of her mother. He was funded by the Castellan, but failed to make any progress, resulting in him resorting to a forbidden experiment. He transferred all his findings to a secret place. Because May only wants to keep the Castellan's hands off the Naraka rune, she tells Kasumi how to find it. The information leads Kasumi to some sort of warp. There, they discover a strange golem who talks about returning to some dojo and beating someone. It tells them that what they're seeking is at the bottom. However, they only encounter a legion of golems there and not the Naraka rune. After defeating the legion, Kasumi returns to Ferryman, who tells her that May has gone missing. Doing a more thorough background check into May, Ferryman concludes that May never saw eye to eye with her father. Keeping the Castellan off her father's research and the rune was a lie. She means to take revenge on her father and was the one behind the lab accident. Ferryman informs Kasumi that her mission isn't over yet. 500 years ago, the god took pity on the Rakshimaru Rektai village and descended to earth as the Miko. In the end, the frozen Naraka-wielding Miko sealed the demon fox with the 6 Zakti runes of Raksha's rage. Kasumi has the 6 ninja arts now, but still needs the remaining Zakti runes. According to the Shikzel database records, the demon fox commanded her sure-level Honkai energy. Kasumi then reveals curiosity about her origin. As they don't have anything new on May, Kasumi's next target is the Yai Shrine. Unexpectedly, they've come across the floating house mirage. For reasons unknown, the shrine at the peak was projected here, halfway up the mountain, but the illusion dissipated because of Kasumi's awareness. Suddenly, Bitter Melon, the source, a vertically challenged Miko. After helping Teresa get back to the shrine, Kasumi learns that this is the rebuilt Yai Shrine. She also learns of people's fear towards the shrine. Unlike Kasumi, Teresa's fox ears are fake. Fox ears are what the people fear, as they are what empowered the Miko, and are proof she once shared her body with the demon fox. After Kasumi senses some sort of beast, Teresa tells Kasumi about Higokumaru, a fox spirit that was born at this shrine after Yaimachi regained divine favor. Believing this spirit fox is somehow related to the Turyug rune, Kasumi uses genjutsu in an attempt to force Higokumaru to reveal its true power. However, her plan is interrupted by 6th Serenade, the rogue wanted by the Castellan. Before leaving, 6th Serenade tells Teresa that the god that protected Yaimachi never returned. The next day, Teresa leaves to get fried tofu for Higokumaru and Kasumi is in charge of taking care of the shrine, but not before changing into a Miko outfit as suggested. Unexpectedly, the shrine is visited by Callan who seems to be searching for something. Believing that the woman takes her for the demon fox, Higokumaru leaves the shrine. Callan, after sensing something, takes a look in Kasumi's direction before also leaving. To find Higokumaru, Kasumi follows their trails. Then, everything begins to shift and twist. A new world spread out beneath her, and before her eyes was a gigantic beast, but the familiar smell was unmistakable. It was Higokumaru. The rune of Path of Turyug art is on its body. After Higokumaru had left the shrine, all of its memories flooded back to it. Its name is Helmaru, and it is the demon fox sealed by Raksha's rage in the legend. During the battle, Helmaru urges Kasumi to seal her and requests for her to console Teresa later. However, Teresa shows up at the end of the battle. Having arrived at an empty shrine, she asked around and found her way here. She says that this is the Saha world, a world where all sins and unholiness are kept. Eventually, Helmaru fades away. Kasumi resummons her, and Teresa hastily reached out her hands, only to catch 2 fistfuls of air. The sound of her heart breaking could be heard. Higokumaru had now become a part of Kasumi's ninja art and given a new name, Raigokumaru. Teresa tells Kasumi to take care of her. In the end, Kasumi begins questioning the real purpose of Raksha's rage. She retrieved the Zakti rune, but in the legend, the demon fox was sealed by Raksha's rage. If the Turyug art was holding the demon fox, then what did the Raksha's rage seal 500 years ago? Also, what purpose do the rest of the ninja arts have? Kasumi's next target lies in Evernight, the underworld of Yaimachi. A year ago, a mysterious woman by the name of Hanafuda Oyabun, an outlander without any background, rose to the top out of nowhere and won over every Evernight gang. From ancient scripts, the power of 3 Zakti runes were known. The Naraka rune can control drift souls, the Deva rune grants immortality and is what allowed Callan to reign for over 5 centuries, and the Manushya rune has the power to enchant humans making them obey. While infiltrating the Oyabun's mansion, Kasumi asks Raigokumaru about what happened 500 years ago. Raigokumaru was Inari, the god of harvest that the Yai Shrine once worshipped many generations back. One day, her Miko brought back a wounded outlander. The black box the outlander brought was kept in the shrine, but before Raigokumaru could purify it, she had already been corrupted. What that box seemed to hold was blind rage at its purest. The last thing she could remember before her shell was broken was her Miko also being wreathed in blind rage. Though Raigokumaru doesn't know why Kasumi has fox ears, she mentions the resemblance between Kasumi and her Miko. She then warns Kasumi about Ferryman. Despite sensing no ill intents from him, he has too heavy a soul. It's as if there are multiple identical beings breathing inside him. Inside, Ferryman informs Kasumi that Mei was spotted going in and out of the mansion. The infiltration continues until Kasumi sets off a trap. Hanafuda Oyabun appears and mentions how Kasumi is the second who came uninvited, and we learn that Kasumi got hit with an anesthetic. Failing to make Kasumi mistrust Ferryman, Oyabun reveals the reason for Mei's visit as well as the truth of the lab accident. Another rune was loaded into the golem. This caused the golem to rampage, and as a result, it gained self-awareness. Mei is looking for black market parts to build a new body for the golem. Unexpectedly, Kasumi is still able to move due to Ferryman stealing the Manushya rune and using it on her. They fight, and after Kasumi gets away, Oyabun gets a visit from 6th Serenade, who's confirmed to be Callan. We also learn that Oyabun suspects Ferryman as the first uninvited guest who stole the 6 volumes of Raksha's Rage ninja arts. However, it has always been a part of Oyabun's mission to hand those over to Kasumi. Outside, Kasumi collapses. And Ferryman has a monologue confirming Oyabun's suspicion. When Kasumi wakes up, Ferryman suggests that she seek shelter at Yai Shrine. As soon as she makes it there, her weary body gives out. The next time she wakes up, she's wearing a Miko outfit, and we learn that she had been treated by Master Fu, who carried her to her clinic at the edge of Evernight. During the night, Kasumi asks Ferryman about his thoughts, and they talk about the Azura rune, since Path of Azura is closely related to Path of Naraka. Ferryman believes that both the Azura rune and Naraka rune were loaded together into the golem, thus causing the accident, and so, they conclude that the two runes had merged together. They also make a decision for Kasumi to stay at the clinic to gather more intel. Sometime later, Himeko arrives and mistakes Kasumi to be Fu Hua's disciple, and we learn that Fu Hua no longer takes in disciples. To repay Fu Hua's favor, Kasumi became her assistant. Himeko mentions the delivering of golem parts as part of a commission she took on, however Fu Hua isn't interested, and Himeko storms off. While treating Kasumi, Fu Hua tells us her backstory. Coming from a family of career fighters, Fu Hua fled here and started a dojo. However, people weren't exactly enthusiastic about fighting techniques. One day, Mei came to provide financial support in exchange for combat data with her golem. The golem became a great attraction, but most of the trainees became street bullies. Believing the golem was at fault, she ditched it, which resulted in the dwindling of trainees. Looking back, she believed the fault belonged to her. She trained their bodies, but not their hearts. After shutting down the dojo, she stayed at Himeko's, who was a black market dealer at the time. Later that night, Kasumi receives a surprise visit from 6th Serenade. Serenade reveals that she has been following Kasumi since Oyabun and knows that she wants to follow Himeko, but is unable to because of her condition. Following Ferryman's suggestion, Kasumi agrees to Serenade's proposal to team up, but asks why she's wanted by the Castellan. Serenade tells Kasumi it's because she stole something from her before leaving. The night continues. Ferryman brings up something that doesn't add up. Mei lost her golem, but never sought to get even with Fu Hua. Remembering the strange golem's words, they conclude that the golem Fu Hua ditched is the golem they've been searching for. During the day, Kasumi meets with Serenade, whose intel tells them that Himeko was spotted here, and it seems Mei was here as well, but something unexpected happened. After some investigation, they soon discovered that this was a trap to lure them out. Mei and Himeko had colluded together, and Himeko purposefully fed Kasumi information back at the clinic. It seems that Himeko believes Fu Hua is running away from her feelings and wants to motivate her to reopen the dojo. Curing bodily illnesses will never redeem the condemned from the abyss of despair. Mei confesses to the implantation of the Azura rune. The golems were dying men turned into machines by her father, but the souls of his test subjects all vanished at some point during the transformation. Only primal instincts in the Naraka rune moved the mechanical shells around. The golem that was sent to Fu Hua's dojo houses the soul of an ambitious fighter who couldn't handle their defeat to Fu Hua. Its grudge and resentment were so strong that it infected the trainees. Mei retrieved it after abandonment, and implanted the Azura rune. Suddenly, the golem appears in its new colossal body, but it would not obey Mei. With an effortless swing of the hand, it sent Mei airborne and she fell with a huge thump. Kasumi orders Serenade to get Fu Hua, while she keeps it busy. Serenade reluctantly leaves and the environment shifts into the Saha world. The golem announces its new name. Hephaestus, Warden of the Burning Hell. With Fu Hua's help, the golem is defeated and the Saha world vanishes. Fu Hua learns the truth of what had happened to her trainees, but her mind is unfazed. She will continue doing what she has been doing. Mei mentions something about a woman and the authorization of a soul transfer experiment. Though Kasumi has retrieved both runes, it seems Mei has other plans. A mysterious black hole appears and vanishes together with Mei.